Game over. It is game over.
Game over, cancer. I'm Val Solomon, Director of Program Impact at Cannonball Kids Cancer Foundation.
And I'm Dana Nichols, Executive Director of CKC.
Game Over Cancer, a podcast dedicated to exploring conversations about pediatric cancer research, solutions, and inspiring family stories.
We're a nonprofit dedicated to creating innovative treatment options for kids fighting cancer and educating for change.
By creating a space for these conversations, we empower the community to take action and provide tangible hope.
Game over, cancer. Screw you, cancer.
Today's episode is all about people who experience pediatric cancer and then turn that into a life's purpose. Our guest today was so moved by the kindness of the nurses that she met when she was younger and her brother was treated for neuroblastoma that turns out she wanted to be a nurse herself because of it.
We often talk about pediatric cancer as a life sentence, but what about when it's a life passion? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about their family. They went all in on a really beautiful charity project that her brother Tyler himself started when they were still in treatment. And now 20 years later, they're looking at, well, what do we do? Is this still serving us? And I know for us, that's one of our favorite conversations is how do we make sure all the work we're doing, especially the philanthropy, especially the giving back, is serving us in a beautiful, engaging way and not coming from a place of must and have to do.
Exactly. And I also love, we get a little bit into our guest's background and why she chose to be a nurse and what really drove that decision-making process for her. And it was just so wonderful and touching to see the impact that nurses have on the peds onc floor. And now she's going to be somebody that's doing that too. So it's a really beautiful conversation. We're really excited to present it to you.
Absolutely. And if we in 20 years are still doing this podcast, then I would assume,
what?
Well, in 20 years, what we're going to do is meet someone who became a nurse because of Nicole.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we'll interview them.
I love it. It could be you.
It can be you. People out there, if you become a nurse because of Nicole after listening to this podcast episode, please write into the podcast.
Yeah.
Until then, enjoy this episode. Nicole is great, and we are so grateful she came by.
Our guest today is a nursing student at Florida State University College of Nursing. She was accepted in the program last year and is one semester away from obtaining her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. She's going to be a pediatric oncology hematology nurse at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital in Orlando, Florida. She has an older brother named Tyler who was treated at that hospital back in 2004 while battling stage 4 neuroblastoma. And in the years following Tyler's diagnosis and treatment, her desire to become a nurse continued to strengthen, and she quickly realized that oncology nursing is where she would have her dream. Please welcome Nicole Youtz.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Well, we're delighted you're here. I think a great intro, but you grew up with a front row seat to pediatric cancer, and now you're making your career pediatric cancer. So we thought maybe we'd just start with talk about a little bit about how you grew up with your brother's diagnosis.
Yeah, so I was pretty young when he was diagnosed, but I mean, I feel as though I remember a good deal. Grew up here. He was diagnosed when he was 4. And so I was just 2 years old when he first went into treatment. But I spent a lot of days on the oncology floor at Arnold Palmer. My family, we basically lived there for a year. And I just remember the nurses, like they were my people, and they took such great care of not only my brother, but my entire family and me. I think that's just where everything started. I was like, okay, this is, this is it. I love these people. I loved that they brought some energy and some light to a floor that can be very sad and very dreary. And so I think that as time went on, I realized that that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So beautiful.
That's amazing. You were so little and Tyler is so little, but this has affected your family. I mean, then since as long as you can remember, can you talk to that a little bit about even moving out of active treatment, but now growing up and what that looked like?
Yeah. So the years shortly after treatment are always touch and go. So I think that the mental health aspect, it hits the entire family. And I think that that's something that is very important to address and shed light on, that, it doesn't stop after treatment. It never does. It never goes away, honestly. Even now, 20 years later, he's healthy and doing his thing, but we still, we know oncology, and we keep in contact with organizations and nurses and all that stuff. But yeah, so after treatment, it's you're focused on remission, staying in remission, trying to get your life back. You only know the hospital for so long, and it's definitely a task to come out of it and figure out how to be normal again when your life was nothing but normal. So we slowly got back into it, kept going. He had all of his his follow-ups and stuff like that. So, and then he started his charity. So we knew that we wanted to still stay, in contact with Arnold Palmer, or still be involved with the hospital. And so, yeah.
That's amazing. We're going to talk a little bit more about the charity in just a little bit. But I wonder if you could share a moment, that part where you're getting back to quote unquote life as normal. Do you have a moment or a memory that you can think of after treatment where it did feel normal? What's one of those memories?
Definitely, we would try to go on a family vacation. So I feel like it was the first couple years out of treatment. It was, let's go do something fun and let's try to, again, be normal. So yeah, I would say that. And even small, my mom was back in the house and my brother was home, and we didn't have to go say goodnight at the hospital. And so just little things like that. I don't think it was, we just woke up one day and it was okay, we're back to normal. Everyone's back in the house and it's all good. But just little things like that, going places together, family dinners that didn't happen before started happening again.
It's quite an insight to the reality, I think, that a lot of people might not get when you just, hear stories periodically, just how separate and isolating it can feel sometimes for not just the child, but everybody in the family and the siblings too.
Yeah. And you guys were so little.
Mm-hmm.
You touched on it for a second, but how's Tyler today? And can you tell us a little bit about what his life looks like as an adult?
Yeah. So he's great. We're best friends, and we have been forever. So yeah, he's doing great. He is working as a tutor at the high school that my mom works at.
Oh.
They're best friends. They've been best friends since treatment. I think that it just really brought them together because they spent all day, every day together and went through so much. So yeah, he does that. He has his real estate license. He tried getting into that for a little bit. I don't know if he's still going to pursue that or whatnot. But yeah, he lives at home. So I see him every day now that I'm back here. And he's doing really well. He's doing really well.
Oh my God. Exactly what we want for all of these kids, right? That
Right.
They are exploring and seeing what they want to do. And they're, just able to live their life. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So as a person who's now going into nursing, we really are interested to hear, you're on the other side of treatment, your brother's an adult, you're an adult. Is there anything from your experience that you're pulling into, or you think you will pull into as a nurse yourself?
Mm-hmm. Definitely having compassion for the families. I think that, and rightfully so, the light is on the child with cancer. And I think that it's so important to ask the questions to parents, to caregivers, anyone who's there. Do you guys, need help? Do you need assistance here? Do you need to talk to a counselor? Anything like that. Even through nursing school, I've been able to have time on an oncology floor, in a peds oncology floor. And it's, you come into contact and you talk with the families the most. The kids, they're, scans and this and that. And so just coming to them with compassion and patience and allowing them to kind of tell you what they need, and not bombarding them with the facts if they don't want to know the facts, and asking questions and checking in on them. And do you have siblings at home? And that just kind of trying to bring normalcy to the floor that they're on and to the life that they're living. Yeah.
Do you ever share your story at all, or is it something that you kind of compartmentalize and kind of keep separate?
I mean, that comes with the asking. So I am yet to, like, in a clinical do that. A lot of the nurses that I will shadow, I will share my story with, but I never want to overstep with parents or caregivers, and especially if the kid's in the room, like you just kind of you feel it out. So
yeah.
I love that. We always like to make sure we're helping our listeners understand how they can be helpful, right? And so what is your advice for people supporting families that are in treatment and afterwards?
To ask. I feel like that's like my motto is just ask. And if you can let the parents, the family, I always say that because there's so many people that could be caregivers at some point, just let them come to you and tell you when they're ready for help, for a shoulder to cry on, for whatever they may need. I feel like it's just within us to reach out and to, we'll bring you this, we'll bring you that. We will come watch your little one in the hospital or whatever. And it's more so just kind of giving them the space to come to you and express how they're feeling, because it's a day by day. You got to take it day by day. And there are good days and bad days. And it's so important to make sure that you're listening and doing your best to just figure out what they need at that time.
It's so profound. I'm just thinking like what that must mean for somebody who, when your child's going through treatment, you really aren't in control of a lot. They're not in control of a lot. So to be able to rely on somebody who is checking in with you to see what you need that day, I'm sure that is such a profound moment for them. That's great.
I think that if you can be a friend who creates safety, that is so huge because, I think it's easy to do that. Let me know what you need. But to really create a space in a friendship and a relationship with your family that allows people to go, okay, I actually do need something. And I've always said no, or I've always said we got it, but we don't. I need this is like a really beautiful, vulnerable moment that we hope for all of our families who are in need, for sure.
So you mentioned it before, but tell us a little bit about Toys from Tyler. It's the organization that y'all started.
Yep. So it actually started when Tyler was still in active treatment. It was Christmas time, and there were 11 kids on the oncology floor at Arnold Palmer, and Tyler was the only one who was able to go home for Christmas. And so he decided that he wanted to bring gifts to it would be 10 friends on the floor that Christmas. And so they did that. It was a small, what we didn't know was going to be the first year of a 20-year long charity. And then the next year came along, and Tyler was like, Mom, like, are we doing the same thing?
Yeah, right.
So it just started. And so, so every year since he was in remission, or since he was in treatment, actually, we have granted the Christmas wishes of not only the kids on the oncology floor, but their entire families. So we do parents, we do siblings, and then the child there. And then we do a toy drive at the hospital. And we bring them all the gifts, and they can choose to come down and have their kid with them, and we'll wrap them there if they want them wrapped. And then we have a ton of toys down at the drive that the families can come down and just pick some more to make Christmas for the whole family.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I didn't know they can come down and pick some too. So then it's like you can go and shop even if you aren't able to get out. And
yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I think it's amazing that a child who is going through so much, like the empathy that kids have, the kindness that is just inherent to children would be like, yeah, I'm going home. Wait, they're not going home? We've got to do something. Is so beautiful.
And then your family who finally gets to leave the hospital,
goes back.
Right?
Yes.
Going to go back with some more toys.
Oh my gosh.
How beautiful.
So it's been something your family's been doing for 20 years. Talk to us about becoming teenagers or adults and then still doing this project, how it's shaped or changed for you guys.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Christmas time is the best time. we love doing it. And I mean, it's definitely, we also take into consideration that it's the best time of year for everyone, but these families, you know, like they are not where they want to be for Christmas, and their kids are not in the state that they want to be in and whatnot. So we always consider that. But I think it's taught Tyler and I, especially as we've grown up, so much about, you know, the importance of, I mean, I say compassion, but it's compassion and it's love, and it's bringing joy and love, honestly, to people who are in need. And it's been great to see the charity grow. We started out with 11 kids, and I mean, we've granted up to 75 in a year or in a holiday season. So it's just been really, really impactful on both Tyler and I and our entire family.
So that year there would have been 75 kids and families that were spending Christmas in the hospital.
So the first year it was the 11 kids and then whatnot, but then through like since then, we've had years where there's 75 kids that we grant the wishes for. Yeah.
We had read that is this the last year you're doing it?
Did you make a comment that this is going to be your last year?
So we're thinking that it's going to be 20, like the big 20, and
nice round number.
I know.
Is that what okay.
We probably thought that with 10 and 15.
Right.
So
We're
like, no, we got to do it again. So, I mean, it's never set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
We love doing it, and it brings us so much joy and so much pleasure to do it. But that's the plan, is to go out with a bang and have this be the last holiday season that we do it. Yeah.
So this is actually one of our favorite like nerd out kind of conversations
for like nonprofit. Yeah.
There's, to me, the idea that your family is having a conversation about, we're doing this thing. Is it still coming from love and joy and desire, or are we done with this project and moving to the next phase of our lives, is so fascinating, because I think we hear over and over again of families starting their project because of a story just like yours, or after treatment feeling like they should do something. And then there's a point where you want to move forward, or even just want to take a break or want to do X. And so I would love to know a little bit more about what that discussion looks like in your family at the 10, 15, 20-year mark of like, what does this look like for us right now?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting phenomenon to kind of to think about. And I truly think that, you know, it never goes away. The cancer world, once you've lived it, you always have it in you. But I think that it's not so much we're burnt out. Like, it's never anything like that. But it's more so, you know, we did this because we wanted to bring the normalcy back, and we wanted to have, you know, families feel connected with their families during the holiday season. And so in doing that, maybe we took it away from us just a tiny bit, or, you know, that's the center of the holiday season is Toys from Tyler, Toys from Tyler, Toys from Tyler. And we adore it, and it's the best, and we meet so many families. But I think that, especially my mom, I think that she wants to have one Christmas of just us. And I mean the buying the toys and the shopping, it's a task.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it starts a couple months before, and contacting all the families and getting in contact with the oncology team at Arnold Palmer and all that stuff. It takes a few months, and she's also trying to scramble for Christmas for the family. And so I think that she, as much as she loves and adores and wants to do it forever and ever, I think that she might be ready to just have a Christmas to ourselves and to see what it leads us to.
Mm-hmm. I just think that's beautiful, because, you know, there's no right or wrong answer, right? Mm-hmm. It's whatever you are comfortable with at the time, and then that can change. And I love that the conversations happen, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that's something that is maybe not discussed a whole lot. We hear a lot of people wanting to start a nonprofit or start a new project, and that's great. And then also it might just change, and it might become too much. It's cool to hear that side of it too.
Yeah, I hope if there's anyone listening that feels, whether feels burdened or just feels like there's a next phase for what we want our post-cancer life to look like, that you can be empowered to make a different choice, that what got you to a certain place of survivorship or healing doesn't have to be the only place. And is really exciting then for what, next family bonding thing could be, right?
Yeah, and I think we know too that there are other organizations coming behind us. And so it's not like, we're taking our step back and now Arnold Palmer doesn't have Christmas. Like we know that organizations like you guys and that there are just so many charities and nonprofits coming up that'll take right over.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a whole ecosystem. So it doesn't all have to be on your shoulders.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to you're passing that gift to somebody else to be part of. And like, that's a really beautiful cycle of giving in itself. In the meantime, though, because we're coming up on 20 years and this Christmas, you will be doing this. If our listeners are wanting to donate or get involved with Toys from Tyler, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page, and then we have a website, so it's just toysfromtyler.inc. And then once you're on there, you'll find the contact information for some members of our family that kind of run the whole thing. And then you're able to, if you want to pick a family and you want to be like, we call them little elves and sponsors and whatnot, you're welcome to do that. And then we also have toy drives just around the city, and even we have some in Winter Haven and whatnot. So if you wanted to learn a little bit more about that and figure out where you can donate some toys, then all that can come from contact information on the website.
Awesome.
And
now, if you're participating or if you're looking for anything you want to do at Arnold Palmer, you'll know your new favorite nurse is Nicole. There. But we talk a lot about how people can get involved all year long. And I think one of those things is reach out to the hospital, see what their needs are. Like, I think in Christmas time, it's very clear we're going to do this thing. But all year long, there are families in treatment. And all of these extras are not part of what the hospital does as far as treatment. So foundations, other nonprofits, anything people want to do to support brings so much normalcy or a little bit of home in a really hard situation. So people should always reach out to their local hospital and see how they could be helpful if they are so called to do. Research saves lives, and since Tyler's diagnosis, we've made progress in neuroblastoma treatment and relapse, but we still have more work to do. You can be part of this. You can support our research and make change and make new treatment options. Head to cannonballkidscancer.org to do so. Please tell your friends to like and subscribe.
Thank you for listening to Game Over Cancer. Did you know that leaving a review helps us reach more listeners? You can help us educate for change by leaving a review and share.
Until next time, I'm Dana Nichols.
And I'm Val Solomon.
CKC,
you later. Join us as we transform fear into courage and turn adversity into opportunities for change.
If you want to be involved in the conversations that create change in the world of pediatric cancer, take a moment, share, like, and subscribe.